Good day everyone, I'm Lloyd Christian Tiago, and today I'm going to present my magisterial lecture on my research. So the title of my research is The Philosophical Analysis on Angels, the Case of St. John Bosco and the Grey Dog. So in the life of St. John Bosco, or also known as Don Bosco, the greatest was the appearance of the grey dog named Grigio, a huge grey dog that appeared suddenly in moments of danger, reappeared on many occasions, and disappeared some years later when the danger was over. So the philosophical question confronted in this research is, are angels real? What are the properties of an angel? What does it take for something to be called an angelic miracle? And is Don Bosco's encounter with the grey dog a manifestation of an angelic miracle? So for my thesis, I argue that the encounter of St. John Bosco with the grey dog is a manifestation of an angelic miracle because it is done outside the order of created nature by a power unknown to us. So what I mean to say is that in the order of its created nature, a dog is expected to be loyal to its owner, but not to strangers. Its impulse to safeguard Don Bosco is a mystery, and all of its other behavior suggests that it's not just a mere dog. For point number 1, angels serve as intermediaries between God and humanity. They are sent as ministers of God, and Aquinas elaborated about what it means to be a minister. A minister is an intelligent instrument, but as an instrument, it cannot work without being moved by another, and its action is ordered to another. So point 2, Aquinas discussed the will of the angels, and he has argued that angels do have wills, and more importantly, free wills. Since all things flow from divine will, it must be presumed that all things are inclined by appetite towards something that is good. So for point number 3, Aquinas puts forward the argument on angels assuming bodies. He argued that angels do need assumed bodies, not for the purpose of doing it for themselves, but for the purpose of human. So for the first objection, Hume famously emphasized the importance of empirical evidence in establishing beliefs. So since there is no empirical evidence for the existence of angels, Hume argues that belief in them lacks a rational basis. So objection 2, there are those who argue that angels do not have free wills, because free will entails the capacity to choose, and a choice is the desire for something, which results from inquiry. But angels do not inquire, for they are already bestowed with intellect and knowledge in their action. More so, if angels do have free wills, it somehow raises the question about the extent of God's control and authority. So for the objection 3, it would seem that in the third point, it raises the question that if they are sent to us in ministry, then what happens to their angelic dignity, which beseems in the empyrean heaven? For when they are sent on works of ministry, it would require them to be in a determinate place. My answer to the first objection is that Aquinas said that inferior angels share in the gift of the superior angels, as the superior angels are nearer to God and receives messages from Him directly. It can be assumed that Regio, the assumed body of an angel, is fulfilling the will of God and fulfill his duty to safeguard Don Bosco. It assumed the body of a dog in order to intervene with attempted assaults by criminals to Don Bosco, in order that Don Bosco can continue in his ministry. So my answer in the objection 2 is that I would take the argument of Aquinas that we must necessarily place a will in the angels, for the reason that those who can act with free judgment are only those who are endowed with intellect. Since angels have intellect, therefore, angels have free wills. In regards to the concern that angels having a free will could potentially undermine the sovereignty of God and endanger humans to go astray, I would say that it is thus a mystery of why God permits this. But we must realize that God's control over His creation is not diminished by the existence of free will, but it is instead demonstrated through His ability to guide and influence the choices of His creation. So my answer in objection 3 is that angels are incorporeal beings. They do not have physical bodies, nor they do have bodies naturally united with them. In the case of Don Bosco and Grigio, it can be said that it is really an angel in the form of a dog. Moreover, with regards to their angelic dignity, it must be realized that in the hierarchy of angels, the higher is at the service of the lower. The basis of this is that God gave them their surpassing gifts of knowing and loving God, that they could share this with the angels lower in the hierarchy. Then the lower angels in return will share it to humans. For my insight in connection to the first point, one illustration is playing a message relay game. So there is the highest in the order of angels who receives the message directly from God, who is the source. After receiving it, he then passes it down to the next, and the second to the third, and so on, until it reaches the lowest of the hierarchy of angels, who is entrusted with the work on passing the message on to humans. Second insight is that free will is essential for exercising our autonomy, as it allows us to act according to our own rational principles and moral values rather than being merely driven by external influences or desires. So in bestowing us with free will, God wants us to be responsible with our decisions. For my third insight, as Aristotle would put it, we humans are inclined not just to something that is abstract, but also to something that is physical, or what we may refer to as representations. So we emphasize that just as the forms, the matter is also important, because we are material. As human beings, we are attracted to what is bodily or material, for it consists in our appetitive power. Angels are intelligible beings, but it would be hard for us to accept that what we can even picture out in our mind. Despite their questionable existence, it can be concluded that by the divine power, their existence is very much possible. As a matter of fact, there are no other possible explanations to the experiences of people who encounter these creatures. In the life of Saint John Bosco, it is clear that it is not just a mere dog, because it is not his own, and yet it always comes to protect him in times of danger. As Don Bosco said, that to say that it is an angel would make us smile, but we cannot even say that it is a common dog. Therefore, the grey dog which appeared to save Don Bosco is not just an ordinary dog, but it is an angel in disguise which assumed the body of a dog. And that would be all for my research. Thank you.